I'm so excited to have you back at the Goddess Collective podcast, where we interview women to just dive into their empowerment stories and how they went from maybe being in a maybe disempowered place to a more empowered place within themselves, or just getting in touch with their mindsets, really diving into how they think and stay in these really empowered places in their lives and are doing really big things. So I was so excited to have you here. And for this episode, I actually got to do a session with, her name is Marina Shiferman. She is the self-proclaimed queen of real estate, which is really exciting because she's somebody who's, she's been doing real estate in San Francisco area for quite a while, and she's doing, multi-million-dollar deals. And we dove into the real estate side of things, and I kind of shared how I have personally attempted to go into the real estate industry, and it just felt so far removed from me. I really just didn't feel a connection there. And so we got to really dive into the mindset of that space and how to really learn to navigate it, or to enter maybe at the beginning, if that's something you want to get into, how to kind of get started in that space. So we went there, but what I love about it is that we expanded this conversation, you'll see, into true empowerment, into really diving into the mindset of somebody like herself who is doing, really big deals in that space. How she's also, the queen of her world. It's not just the queen of the real estate game, but she's the queen of herself, her home, how she navigates, how she navigated her relationship, money. We really dive into money mindset and have a super powerful conversation, kind of encompassing all of those key pillars that serve as the foundation for living an empowered life. So I can't wait for you to tune in and to see this episode. But yes, know that if you want to connect with Marina on your own, her links are down below. You're not going to want to miss connecting with her one-on-one. She's super approachable and just such a fun energy. So you're going to love her and want to connect with her stuff anyway. So yeah, please check that out below. But so happy to have you here and to dive into this is the first official guest speaker for the podcast. Now, if you've been following the Goddess Collective a little bit, you know that we are also an empowerment community outside of the podcasting world. We're, also outside of just social. We have a whole community outside of that. And so we have guest speakers there every week, sometimes two every week. And so that is actually transferring now to the podcast world. And so we officially brought on Marina as our first official guest speaker for the podcast. So I'm so excited to be expanding in this way and to be just growing, growing this realm of the Goddess Collective, which, that's a whole story on its own, which I shared a little bit about in my initial, episode of this thing of just kind of how it came to be, how it got started. But it's just fun to see it already just evolving into more and being in this realm now, podcast, which I've always kind of wanted to do and thought about, but never thought, I'd be able to do that. And here we are. So, and now I have guest speakers. So it's just, it's not just me going to be talking at you. Like I said, episodes ago, I'm bringing in some cool ass people. So get ready. I can't wait for you to meet Marina to dive into our discussion and really understand the mindset of an empowered woman doing big ass things in her career, really what it takes. We talk about really that up-leveling mindset to get to those higher level places that you want in your life. And it's whether you want to do it in real estate or not, this really translates into every area of your life. You want to just be more badass in, you just really want to be the leader and authority in different areas. These are the shifts that you're going to want to start including. So definitely listen to this. And I'm probably going to rewatch it a few times just to really allow some of the pieces to soak in, but can't wait for you to connect with her, meet her, listen in on our conversation. And most importantly, let us know what you think. The feedback below in the comments is going to be so important for growing this community and being able to provide you with the content that I think is going to serve you best based on what you're looking for. So yes, please comment below, share your thoughts, add your questions, or share with me what kind of people do you want me to interview in the future. We're just getting started with this thing. So can't wait to hear from you. And again, welcome back to the Goddess Collective podcast. I'm so happy you're here and enjoy the episode. Hi, Marina. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well, thanks. It's gloomy and rainy and cold, so I'm just chilling. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's actually really warm here. So I'm in Austin. Remind me where you're at again. It's been a minute.
San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I am so excited to have you back, essentially. So for anybody that's new to the Goddess Collective, Marina is somebody that had the privilege of having in the community back when it was Zoom calls. And she really introed us into her world of real estate but kind of a combo with mindset too. And so I would love for you to just kind of intro yourself. Because I think one of the things that really excited me about what you do is that you really seem to embrace like this feminine power in kind of a male dominated space. And you do it so gracefully. And so tell us a little bit about like who you are, what you do, as I know you are like a self-proclaimed real estate fairy godmother, right?
I'm essentially the real estate queen, all about real estate. So I started my career about 10 years ago as your traditional residential real estate agent, working with buyers and sellers. And so I am right now currently a realtor. But that has evolved into creating what I call the Real Estate Queen Academy. It's courses where I teach women how to buy and own real estate correctly, the steps and the strategies and like the process and everything, so they feel more confident and empowered to do it and learn about it. And I've also created like a real estate queen team of amazing badass realtors all over the country. So yeah, and I own real estate, and I'm just all about empowering and educating women to invest in real estate.
Yeah, I love that. And I actually remember like one of my very first moments of getting any kind of information on real estate. It was when I was just trying to figure out like a new career for myself. And I was like, I know that everybody says real estate is super lucrative. I'm willing to check it out. And I remember personally in the environment I was in, it just seemed too like intense. And I almost wanted to just like put my head against a wall because I was like, I just want nothing to do with this world. Like I thought I wanted, like it was the most like welcoming intro into the world. And so I'm wondering if you can just tell us a little bit about like your intro into the space and like what like held you there, and then what had you wanting to just keep going in it, because I'm sure it was a little intimidating from my own experience, and I'm sure a lot of women say that. So I'm curious, what had you to say like I got to keep diving into this,
into being a realtor, right? And the world.
Yeah.
Well, when I first got into real estate, it was because I didn't want to have a boss telling me what to do, and I didn't want to have a 9 to 5, and I wanted to do something that interested me. And I had done a lot of reflection on the woman I wanted to be, like the goal, the financially free, successful, elegant, independent woman. And I knew that I wanted to buy real estate, but I didn't know exactly what that meant. So I shadowed a realtor. It was a guy realtor for like 3 months just to see if I liked it. And he had me doing like secretarial stuff. But I did like it because essentially you're out in the field showing homes, meeting with clients, negotiating deals, or you're in your office or doing whatever. It's like your schedule, it's your entrepreneurial. And so I got into leasing. I didn't know that there's a difference between sales and leasing at that time. I got into leasing for a year, and then I realized quickly I wanted to play with the big boys. I am the big boy. And I got into like this other company that had a training program, and I wasn't intimidated at all because I was young. I felt like I had my whole future ahead of me. I was like in my 20s. And people in this training program were my age too. They didn't know anything, men and women. And I don't know, I just never got intimidated. I just kept going and I kept going. I got myself a great mentor who was a guy for like a year or two. And then I did it on my own. And now lately I've been approached by some badass, like amazing women realtors to help them and be on their team, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I realized that I'm the big boy. I am the person that I wanted to be. So like, I'm the big girl, I'm the real estate queen. And the confidence issue was never a big problem for me. I grew up with a lot of confidence. I grew up dancing ballet professionally, and I was always pretty good at it. I think that really gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah. I actually want to touch on that a little bit because, you're saying that, I am the big boy. Like essentially that's like, I'm already here. I've arrived. But to get to that place, maybe for you, it feels like, oh yeah, that's just who I am. But so many, it's almost like that's the thing that keeps them from moving into an area where they feel like they could play with quote unquote, the big boys. How do you think you arrived there? Was it just always being involved in something empowering like dance? Or were there moments where you didn't feel it and you had to do something to kind of shift into that space? You know what I mean?
There's a lot of different aspects of it, the confidence aspect aside, but actually liking what you're doing. Like I got into real estate and I quickly saw that I love being a leader. I
Yeah.
love guiding clients to success. I love working with the kind of clients I want to work with. I liked what I did.
Yeah.
And it fueled me even more. Like, I want to get better at this and better at this. I remember my first deal, my very first deal. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Fake it till you make it, right? And then, like, a couple months after that, I saw the agent who was on the selling side. And I was like, that was my first deal. And she's like, yeah, I could tell. And I was like, okay, okay. Well, there's a lot of room to grow, and I'm going to be better than you. And it was just like, I really liked what I did. And then I wanted to buy real estate, and I was my own real estate agent. And then my friends were coming to me, and it's like, I really enjoyed it. And I'm so into women empowerment. And I saw that I was, and like the validation also, like you're doing deals, you're making money, it's actually working, it's going well, you're getting
Yeah.
referrals. That aspect has to be there too. Because if it's not working, then you're going to doubt yourself, or like, what am I not doing?
Totally. The little wins along the way for that
Yeah.
progress.
And with the confidence and walking the walk and like talking to women about this, it's just kind of snowballed up. And like, this is my passion. I've arrived at the passion of educating and inspiring women to do this, because like, we need more badass women, we need more women homeowners, we need more women investors, we just need more women in this space.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that too. I would love to know what, obviously I'm getting a sense of like what encouraged you to get into like taking your passion and helping others through that passion, right? Creating that empowerment conversation and helping other women rise up. But what do you think is the real reason why we really need those kinds of mindsets happening for women, or women stepping into more of being leaders of their life in this realm? Like, why do you feel like that is what's so needed right now?
Because I don't want, so the deep down in the core, this is not what anyone likes to talk about,
Yeah.
but we get married and we want to be married forever. But I never want to be in the situation where I'm older, 50s, 60s, 70s, and I'm left without a husband and have no idea how to do anything, have no money of my own, have no property of my own, don't understand how to buy property. I'm so overwhelmed and scary. I don't want any woman to be in the position of shit. I want her to have a seat at the table every step of the way, make
Mhm.
decisions that are going to protect her and her future, under like, be a leader, not rely on someone. Oh, my husband will handle it. Like, I don't handle the finances, I don't handle real estate. Well, your husband's not always going to be there, most of the time, some of the time, unfortunately. Like, these are the realities that us as women have to deal with. So
Mhm.
like, put on your big girl pants, figure it out, have your name on the deed too, learn how to buy real estate, have a realtor that you can call, be in meetings, and just do it.
Yeah. I love that. It's so empowering when you just start to educate yourself on little things. I remember actually not that long ago, like I'll be full on honest. I've only in the last couple of years really dove into being my own leader and understanding what that means and having like full autonomy in my life, but not in this hyper dependent, independent way, but just in a way where I start to say, okay, I'm sick of this narrative of like not being a leader. I'm so sick of that. So how do I become that? And I remember I was sitting with a financial advisor and he was like, so what's your long-term plan? And I was like, to be honest, I don't think about it. Like I never thought about it. And he kind of explained the same things you're saying to me right now of like, well, eventually like stuff is going to happen. You can't just live as if it's not, because then you're going to be stuck. And it's not that you want to live in fear all the time, but just living in awareness, preparing for things so that way you don't have to worry, you don't have to be scared. There doesn't have to be a rainy day. You're just ready, you
I
know.
don't think it is living in fear. I think it's living in empowerment, like feeling so happy and confident that, okay, I got this.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I mean is like unless you do that stuff, then I think you're kind of sitting in this space of like everybody else gets to control. You're sitting back and you're saying, "Oh, I don't, I don't have to worry about that. It'll figure itself out. Not giving yourself putting yourself in the driver's seat, getting to choose where the car turns because you want to,
That's
that
the huge-
freedom.
yeah, that's a huge mindset shift that I think women need to, from all the generations. Like that's the mindset shift.
Yeah. So I have to, I'm like going off script here, but I'm like, there's so much juicy stuff to talk about. I'm curious because I look at you as this, like, even now you're in this like strong confidence, like this, you can just tell you live, breathe everything you talk about, empowerment. Like you are so that, but I'm wondering, like, there had to have been a moment in life where maybe this wasn't the case. Maybe there was a part of you that had to overcome something, or something clicked where you're like, oh, that's the mindset that's going to actually get me places. Like, do you remember that moment at all? And can you walk us through like how you shifted?
Well, one thing that comes to mind. So when I was 7 years old, I started doing ballet. My mom put me in ballet. And I quickly excelled and I loved it. And I was winning competitions. And I went to a boarding school, a Russian boarding school in DC, to become a professional ballerina. Like that was my path. That's all I wanted to do. And when I was 15, I was in this boarding school. I fainted and I found out I had a brain tumor in the cerebellum of my brain, which is the part that controls balance. And for a ballerina, like balance is everything. So I went back to California. Thought, oh, I'm just going to have surgery. I'll be back in a week. I was in the hospital for 6 weeks. And then I couldn't walk after because I was laying. Like it was basically a year of recovery. And at that time, it was like a really, really dark time. It was like, why did this happen to me? I feel like I was climbing a ladder to success and the ladder was just taken from under me. What do I do now? It was a really dark time.
Wow.
But I think what got me through it is I was so young. So I went back to high school and I like had fun the last 2 years. And it kind of just made me forget. And I was just kind of living the life of a young person. And then I went to university, and I do admit I was kind of lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do, whatever. But after university, I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to go back and live with my parents because that's what everyone does. It's boring. What do I really want to do? Like life is starting. What's up? So I traveled around America for 3 months by myself. And that was amazing. That moment is where I decided what kind of woman I wanted to be. I remember one time I decided to treat myself to like a really fancy lunch in Chicago one day. I went to like this like hotel, really fancy lunch. And I saw this woman sitting by herself across at a different table with a beautiful hat and like a red lip. And I was like, that's it. That's the kind of woman I want to be. My thought of her was elegance, just oozing elegance, oozing grace, oozing independence, oozing sophistication, paying for lunch like it's nothing. And so that was a click moment too. And yeah, just realizing ballet is gone was a really hard click moment. But
yeah.
And then a couple years ago, since I've been a realtor for 8 years, a couple years ago, and I was on the beach in Mexico. COVID was happening. Crazy fires in California were happening. And so me and my husband flew to Mexico for a while. And I was walking on the beach and I was like, what now? Like, I'm just a realtor. That's nothing special. There's millions of us. What sets me apart? And it was actually a light bulb moment. The women community, the women empowerment. I'm like, oh my God, I need to start an academy where I teach women how to buy real estate. I need to be their role model. I was like, it was pouring out of me. And then that's when the whole idea was born.
Ooh, that, it's amazing hearing you say there's these big pivotal experiences that almost just, I always say this, but like break you open, where it has you asking the most important question, what do I really want? That I think sometimes a lot of people think they can't ask themselves, or they never try to ask themselves, because they're like, well, here I am. Where I am is where I am. And this has to be enough. It's that extreme limiting thing. So you just expanding your container, saying, what's next? What do I really want? And then moving towards that,
and allowing yourself the space for it to come to you. Because it's not going to be, you sit down and you figure it out. It's like going to be a year or more.
Yeah, see, that's another thing is I think, and I'm guilty of this for forever, is hearing people talk about, their paths and their pivots and things, and they make it sound so easy. They're like, "Oh yeah, well, one day I just got this idea and I did this, and then I shifted and now I'm here." And I was like, okay, but how? Like, and so I thought I had to expedite everything. I thought, oh, I'm going too slow. That's where my impatience started really creeping up. So I want you to touch on that a little bit, like giving it the space to grow. Do you just mean like the environment? You were down in Mexico, you were a little bit more maybe free flow than the environment in California. Like,
Oh, I mean, that has a huge part to do with it. Like anytime I get stuck or in a rut or not motivated, I need to go change my environment. That's just who I am. I'm a manifesting generator. I need to go on
me
vacation.
too.
Yes, I had a whole reading. It was amazing because they validate what you need. Some people are
Mhm.
like, you need to go on vacation again. Do you deserve it? I'm like, no, this is what I need. Anyway, so that's part of it. But I've been asking these questions for a while. Like I was working with a therapist because I always felt before I started the academy, like, is this it? What the hell is the point? I'm not special. I'm just another realtor. What is it? Why am I here? What about ballet did I love? It was a journey, man. It was hard. You just fucking have to put one step in front of the other. But the light bulb moment was what I was waiting for. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say that when I had the idea for the academy, I thought as soon as I talked about it, people would be flooding, breaking down my door. No, it hasn't been like that. It's been 2 years since I've had the academy, launches after launches. I've had like 5 students. It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, the fact that you got 5 people in the door and you get to change their lives, like focus on that. That's massive. But I love what you're saying because even if you have the light bulb moment, it doesn't mean, oh, all the pieces are just going to fall in place, right? It's like, okay, now we've got to nurture it and understand that the day you plant the seeds is not the day you get the flowers, right? It's not the day that everything just blooms and becomes the gift. You have to give it time and you have to just go in knowing that you're starting the process and it's just starting, right? So you have to go in building that patience. So did you maybe go in with no patience and like the expectation that, oh my God, here it is, here
Yeah.
world, here I am.
Yes, because I thought since I'd been a realtor for so long, I was already kind of teaching my clients how to do this. It would be just like an easy transition, but it's actually a whole new business.
Hmm.
And it's
Okay.
really, I've had also moments of where I felt like a failure, where I've had launches where 0 people sign up. And I'm like, are people just, do women not want this? Do we
Yeah.
not want to learn how to buy real estate? Is this not interesting to you? But
Yeah.
in my heart, I'm like, it is. You need to do it. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm the mom. I'm like, you have to do it. And the kid's like, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Well, for anybody that's watching this and is going to like click, your links and things, like you ooze passion in what you do. Every single component of all of your links and all of your information, like cannot express enough for the women to go actually look through like your resources and your blog and like all the things that you provide to dig into the space because it is so heart centered. I was like, woo, this is like massive inspiration for how can I show up bigger too. So I'll definitely be checking out her links. But I want to talk about your academy because I want to just understand more about what's involved in it and what kind of things you teach the women that you support in that container. Because just a little bit that I know from what you've already shared with me before about real estate, like it is, I can imagine it would be the most empowering thing to put yourself through because you can like learn this new skill that maybe you didn't think it was for you before, but you had this curiosity, but then you go into it and you're like, whoa, I feel like a more powerful woman now. So I'm curious to speak on that academy.
Sure. Well, the Academy, first and foremost, is for women who want to buy real estate. It's not for real estate agents. I have a separate program to mentor women real estate agents. This one is for the woman who knows she wants to buy, has an idea of it, but it's just too overwhelming. She doesn't even know how to get it started.
Hmm.
So I have 2 programs. The first one is an online self-paced course that you can buy anytime. It's 9 videos, journal prompts, yeah. And it essentially takes you from step 1 to the end and a few things to note beyond. So step 1 is like self-reflection and goal setting. Step 2 is how to select your team, who's on your team. Step 3 is what's financing, breaking down the mortgage part. Then it's how to actually search for properties, how to do it correctly. Then it's how to write a purchase agreement. What is a purchase agreement? What are the strategies? How do you know how to fill it out? Then it goes, what's the escrow period? What happens in the escrow period? What do I need to do? And then it's, you're a homeowner, now what? And then I have extra videos like list price versus sales price. And then I have another video of what does it mean to be the queen of your own life? And I'm always going to be adding videos.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm curious too, in that stage where it's, somebody's coming in and maybe doing this for the first time, or maybe, maybe they've done it before, but they want to do it right this time, and so they go through your program. What are some of the key mistakes that you think if people just knew like to avoid like a couple of these key things in the beginning, they could be set up so much more for success?
Well, I think education. They don't know what's up. They think searching on Zillow and going to open houses is the first step, maybe speaking to a mortgage broker, but like just taking the time to learn about it. Google is not your friend. You cannot Google how to buy a house. What are the steps to buying a house? You cannot DIY this. So I think taking a step back and educating yourself is key. And not Google, not YouTube. Getting a program.
I have Googled that before because I was curious, and you'll get
it's overwhelming.
It's so overwhelming, and it's like answering in the most general way for something that you really needs to be customized, right? You really need it to be customized to your experience and what you want. So like what Billy Bob Sue over there wants, is not going to be aligned. And then also it's probably going to be like not the most helpful information anyways, because it could be in a different location. Some of those rules might not apply to where you are. So yeah, there's so much to know. So I imagine that would be crucial. And I think I saw a post you put the other day that was like, don't assume that if you watch $1 Million Listing, you know what to do.
It's ridiculous. Oh my God.
You get that all the time?
Not all the time. I'm sure people are thinking about it. People do tell me a lot. They're like, oh, I love those shows Selling Sunset. I feel like I know how to buy real estate already. And I'm like rolling my eyes. But I was referred to a client a couple months ago. We had our first time home meeting. And I'm like, so have you bought real estate before? And he was a guy. And he's like, no, but I watch $1 Million Listings. Like, I know how to do it. And I'm like, okay. Needless to say, we did not end up working together because when he was interested in a condo, I did my work and I told him what I thought it was going to go for, 1.5. It was listed at 999. I thought it was going to go at 1.5. And I'm like, this is how it's going to go. These are the comps to support it. This is why I think this.
Yeah.
And he fucking had the audacity to be like, no, that's not right. These are the comps that I pulled. This is what I think it's going to go for. What do you think it sold for? Obviously 1.5. I fired his ass. It's not working. Like, I don't go to your job and tell you how to do your job that you're not right. Like, if you hire a professional, you listen to. I did a whole podcast episode on this. I was like on a rant.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand is like, why spend the money to hire somebody if you're just going to spend the whole time trying to prove why you are already knowledgeable in that space? Like,
how can I get the house? But the buyer doesn't pay for a real estate agent anyways. The seller is the one that pays real estate commission for everyone. So you take the time to find a realtor that's right for you. That's a common first-time buyer mistake. Not having the right realtor for you, assuming that we're all the same.
Yeah,
we all are good, the same level. Taking the time to find a realtor that's right for you is a huge one.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, I'm so curious too. I know this sounds maybe this sounds so obvious, but what are when somebody says something like that, like, oh, I watch $1 Million Listing or whatever, Selling Sunset, and I totally binge those shows too. So I love them. But like when somebody says that to you, what do you think is like the one key thing that they're assuming they understand? Like, obviously they think they understand the whole process from that show, but like, what is like a key difference in like watching a show talking about it and then like actually working somewhat with somebody who's knowledgeable in that space?
Well, on the shows, you go see houses, you tell the agent what price you want, and then the house becomes yours and that's it. But in reality, there's a lot of steps along the way. You're going seeing houses, but then there's filling out the actual purchase agreement. And you don't tell me what the price is, I tell you what the price is. And there's a lot of other like strategies. The purchase agreement is like 7 pages. It's all the contract. Yeah. And the escrow period is like when your offer gets accepted by the seller, there's a whole period of time between that you have to get insurance, title insurance, you have to fund your loan, sign documents, figure out what your trust is going to be if you're going to start an LLC. There's all these things that nobody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the closing, like how to make your investment grow, how to be a homeowner. It's not as simple and quick, but it can be simple if you have the right realtor.
Yeah, and it just shows. Oh, go ahead.
In selling Sunset $1 million listings, those are very niche markets in LA that the price is like, it doesn't seem like it's very competitive down there. Like the price is $1.5 million, for example, and then they go way lower. But in areas like San Francisco and like Austin and all around the world where competition is fucking fierce, they don't show how bidding wars happen. They don't show the competitiveness. They don't show the paying all cash. What does that mean versus financing? What does that mean?
Yeah.
They don't show how to buy as a married couple, how to protect yourself. They don't show anything. It's just entertainment, which I love too.
Yeah. No, you're right. They say movie magic, but TV magic all the same. There's so much editing and stuff that's happening from filming it to actually airing it. There's so much you're not seeing. So I think it's important to remember that. I don't know why. I just really feel like I want to touch on that because I think a lot of people think they're interested in real estate or think they know, but then the moment they get into it, it's like their world gets flipped upside down if they're not supported in the right way. I've seen some horror stories. I have a friend, and her husband, they were just trying to buy a house in Dallas, and they put an offer. And I remember the whole trip because I was actually up in San Francisco visiting them, and they were like paying attention to like trying to buy this house the whole time. And it was just watching their emotional roller coaster because they would put in these offers and then it would come, they'd be so excited, build themselves up, and then it would come crashing down. Literally, even all cash offers were not getting through because it was so competitive. And so just seeing that wave was really just sad to watch. And then, it is a wild market. So within a couple of weeks, they ended up getting approved and they're moving into a house soon. But yeah, I've just seen it a little bit. And so it's a wild journey, the real estate side of things. But yeah, I think it's like you said, I think you can mitigate a lot of that stress and just know how to navigate it when you're supported in the right way. And I would love to know too, like a lot of people are interested in getting in the space, but maybe they feel like, oh, I have to have a certain amount of money. I have to, I can only do it when I'm financially ready in this way. And so it's almost like they keep telling themselves one day. But what would you tell the people that want to invest that don't have maybe the money right now in the way that they want, or just feel like stuck in being able to?
I would say those people need to work with a money coach. Get into a money program where you learn about money, handle your budgeting. I know so many money coaches, and you do too, in this online space, and they're for women, helping you budget, prioritizing, helping you save. What are your goals? That's what I would suggest. Like, don't DIY something like that. Don't DIY finances, buying a house, investing, going to the doctor. Like, you can't do it yourself. Get help. I think that as women, we need to surround ourselves with other women that know their field, that are empowered, that are strong, that can teach us other things, because who you surround yourself with is who you're going to be. If you surround yourself with confident, strong women that know their shit, you're going to be confident, strong woman that knows her shit. So get a money coach, start budgeting, start saving, have a goal, and then go for it.
Yeah. Is there like a certain amount you think people should have saved up before they play in the space?
That is definitely a question for a money coach. I can't tell them their finances, how much they should have saved up, how much their emergency fund should be, how much. I cannot do that. But I would, if you're really, from a person like has absolutely no idea, doesn't have a budget, start with creating a budget. Then when you're good in your budget, start creating a savings. Then when you're good with that, then speak with a mortgage broker and say, what do I need to do? What's the plan that I want to buy in 3 years, 5 years? What's the plan? What do I need? And she can give you that. And then you go back to your money coach and say, okay, I want to save this. Let's figure out a way that we can do this. And then it's all like that.
Yeah, I love that, because that kind of touches on what we were talking about earlier, which is when you have, something on your heart that you want to do, it doesn't mean that you're going to just like jump and it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, there is an element of planning everything. I think about like now I'm going full time in my business starting in April, but I'm only here because I started planning the right way a year ago. Over a year ago, I said, okay, in a year, this is my goal. How do I get there? And every single month, I just was moving towards that goal to the point where I said, holy crap, I'm here. And then facing that, like that was a new demon on its own, being like, okay, I'm actually here. Like, can I let go? I've planned the right way. Can I trust myself now that I'm here? Then the answer had to be yes, because I thought I didn't do that for nothing. So I just want everybody to hear really what you're saying right now. What you're saying is so massive. It's like, okay, just admit if you're not where you want to be, own that, and then surround yourself with powerful people that can help you and give you the advice to start planning in the right way, so that when you're ready, even if you think you're ready now, get yourself ready to be ready, and then it'll happen. Right. But yeah, there's so much power in coaches. And think I forget sometimes there's coaches for everything. Anything you want to be better in, there's a coach for it. There just is.
And also, I think that a lot of women are timid to ask questions. Because women have this fear of how they look to other people. That's just an innate biological fear. So they're afraid to ask questions. A lot of women start their questions with, I know this is a stupid question, but sorry if this is a stupid question, but, and then they're asked the question. I'm like, it's actually a really fucking good question. So ask questions. Don't be afraid to quote unquote look dumb, because when you're quote unquote looking dumb, you're getting smarter and smarter than the other guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It might feel like you look dumb, but it's temporary,
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's what my husband taught me. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's going to get you to the top.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that so much. And I think it's really easy to say all of these things, but living it and breathing it and like experiencing it really allows these life lessons to stick, right? You're like, oh, okay, that is the magic. Get uncomfortable, or get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, move forward one step at a time, like, because you start to look back and see, oh, stuff is happening. Yeah. Is your husband in real estate too, and in this world?
A real estate developer, funnily enough.
Oh,
but
my gosh.
We don't work together. We met at a nightclub. I thought he was hot. I went up to him, and then we fell in love and got married. It was so weird. It had nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, this is so off topic, but like, I feel like anytime I'm talking to women about just being in a more empowered place, feeling like your confident, most badass self, there's always a correlation of, there's a conversation around relationships that happens, because it's all from the same core place. And so do you like, I find that when women are in this space for themselves, they tend to be in really solid relationships, or they're not worried about it because they're so solid in the relationship with themselves. Do you feel like you were in such a good place that, like, you had to have been, right, for it to just come in and was it quick? Like, you and your now husband?
Yeah, I mean, I had a bench, I had a rotation going, and none of them could be there at that party. But I was like essentially single, and I was looking good. Beautiful, like curled hair, beautiful dress. It was a private party, really fun. And I just saw him and I went up to him. And I think when I tell people that story, they're like, I could never make the first move. I could never go up to a guy. And I'm like, what? He was just going to be another guy on my bench. That's how I was thinking about it. He would be lucky to get to know me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that power right there. He would be lucky. I am the prize. I am the big boy, like walking around with that energy. I always say BDE, like big dick energy.
Yeah.
Like, women can have it too.
Like, you're hot as fuck. You're smart. You don't need anyone, but you want to relate. You just are living your best life. You're radiating greatness.
Yeah. Yeah. I found actually, the way like we were talking about manifesting generator. Well, I actually manifested my boyfriend in 2 months. 2 months. And I think about 2 months. Yeah. I thought about like the feeling. Like, I finally this is what it was. I finally got to this point where I was like, okay, I'm so over being in relationships that don't work. Cause one had just ended a couple months ago, but it was really over before it was over, kind of thing. A lot of love and respect for him, but it was just, it just knew before it was over that it was. And so by the time it was over, like officially, it was almost like I could breathe, because there was like no pressure anymore to just walk on eggshells, it was so freeing. And
Yes.
so I finally got to this place where I was like, okay, I'm really ready to just be done in failed relationships. Like I'm so solid until the right one comes in. I don't need any of that anymore. Now I had a few like fun dates and things in between, but like I was in such a different place with it all. And then I wrote down, I was like, here's what I want. And I'm not settling. This is exactly what I want. I wrote it very clearly. I had a lot of like fun music going on. I was like drinking a glass of wine and I was just kind of in my vibe and I felt really good. And then I let it go because I trusted. I was like, well, I already asked for it. It's happening. 2 months, probably to the day, I meet him and we were like at a mutual friend's birthday party. And that's a whole story on its own. But I bring this story up because that right there is like a formula that I think it's important to know, like your human design, right? To know like which way you generate. So I think once you know that, because I knew that when I did that exercise, I had done my human design prior to that. So, but when I knew that, that's when I decided to give myself the time to sit in the energy that would attract. And then it brought him in, but I just trusted. It didn't come in a day and it didn't come in a month. It came in 2 months, but I knew it would come. And so I think with anything that you want, like talking about money or, anything in life, your career, know how you manifest. Like try out manifesting in one pillar of your life. If you just genuinely feel like you don't believe that you can attract in the one that you really, really want, try it with something else first. Get a sense of that feeling in your body, own it, and then try it with the thing that you most want. And you'll start to trust a little bit more. And then it will start to show up. And then you'll be like, wow, I'm a really powerful
The
problem.
validation is what's necessary. I remember 2 years ago, I was like, I'm done doing small level deals. I want to do $5 million and up. That was 2 years ago. Last week, I closed my first $5 million deal.
Oh my God.
Because I was like, what's the difference between me and the agent that's doing $5 million deal? The only difference is she's actually doing it. And so I'm doing it now. It took 2 years, but yeah, but the validation, now I look back and I remember that moment and I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay. So what was the process for the last 2 years that you did? Because you probably just spoke it and you trusted, right? But were there moments of doubt that you had to work around?
Yeah, probably. Like I had to do deals that weren't $5 million along the way. And some small level deals I would refer out. I was like, I'm sorry if you're listening to some place that's not this price, but if anything was lower than $1 million or $1.2 million, I would just refer it out because that wasn't the energy that I wanted to be in. And anything that was above that, I would work on it. And I would work on it. And I would do open houses for only like agents that had high-end listings. So I just put myself in that energy.
I love where this conversation is going because now we're sitting in okay, I've clearly said, here's what I want. And that's my boundary now. That's what I choose into. And anything less than that is me almost going against what I said I wanted because the slight, if you had just said yes, it's not that you're saying you deserve, it's not that you don't feel, like worthy of $1 million deals, but you had your sights set higher. You knew what you wanted. And you said, it's not that this isn't great, but this is not what I asked for. I know what I asked for and I'm convicted in that. And that's whether you're looking for $5 million deals or the relationship of your dreams, or you want perfect health. It's like, what are you willing to say no to achieve the thing that is actually what you want? Because anything else is going against yourself. That right there is like, the more we can practice that.
You should write that down. That's like a gold piece of whatever.
I know. I don't have a pen, but I'm gonna rewatch this for my own self. Do you ever actually, I'll let you write it down, but I'm so curious. If you ever feel like as a coach, you'll be in a session with somebody and you're like, wow, that was really amazing advice. And then you're like, oh, I wish I either could remember what I said in those exact words, or wow, how did I not think of that before for my own self?
Yeah, I write it down. Sometimes when I'm recording a podcast, you'll learn this when you're just riffing and ranting, you say something that's gold and I stop and I'm like, wow, ladies, like record that. It was fucking gold. And I write it down.
I love that so much. Yeah, I think that just shows even if we weren't recording this episode, like I remember our very first conversation before I introduced you to the women of the Goddess Collective, before, I shared you out, we were having really powerful conversations, and it made me realize this is a big reason why I want to share these conversations outwardly, is because, like you said, who you surround yourself with, who you allow yourself to have conversations with, changes your mindset. Stuff comes up. It's almost like that expansion place we were talking about before. It's like being in the room and having conversations with people that think bigger than you or just are constantly up leveling as well. That is creating that space for the ideas to come in, for the stuff to flow, and for your alignment to just start showing up in the conversation. But if you're with people that keep your vibration lower, like, this stuff is never going to surface, right? So that's another reason why it matters.
Yeah, I'm so into that. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
always room to grow. It's all the way up. It's all the way up. Like, how'd you get there? What did you do to do that? I want to do that. Oh, tell me your secret. Who do you know? It's all about who you know. Life is all about relationships.
Yeah, it totally is. And another thing is, like, you normalizing the idea of $5 million, because if you think about it, and this is a whole other thing, money is not even real. So we got to start normalizing these big numbers and see what's possible for ourselves. But I think even before this, like, I had a mini light bulb where it hit me. It's like, whoa, I've been putting like $1 million on the pedestal. Hell, I've been putting 500,000 on a pedestal. Not saying that those aren't big numbers and that I wouldn't appreciate them, but even just hearing you casually say, yeah, I wanted the 5 million because I wanted it. Point blank period.
This is also a sensitive subject, but I've done the $1 million deals. I've done the $5 million deals, the 3 million, 2 million. And I've seen that there's a mindset shift between how people that have $5 million look at money and the people that have $1 million look at money. The people that are looking for less, $1 million, have a scarcity mindset. I can't overpay. I can't pay another $1,000. I can't pay another $2,000. I can't. This is the max. This is it. But the people that have the bigger budget, this is what I want. $2,000, if that's what I have to do to win the house, sure. It's like, it's going to come back to me. This house is what I want. It's a whole different mindset. I've seen
that
it.
right there.
Yeah.
That is so interesting. I wonder what it took for them to get to that place, just normalizing the number, just sitting in. Something I tell my clients all the time is the moment they start to see success, because I will say the moment you invest in yourself, like working with a coach, stuff just starts to come in. Stuff just starts to be easy because you said yes to yourself. And so the universe says yes back. And it happens every single time I work with a client. They immediately come in and something happens. And their response is, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Like, they put that success on a pedestal. And what I tell them is I say, no, what I want you to do is own that and say, put your hand on your heart because you can feel it better. I want you to tell yourself, oh, this gets to be my normal. This is totally mine. Like, this is just how my life works. And just sitting in that instead of telling yourself like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Like, that never happens, or I don't know if that's going to happen again. Like, just saying, no, this is what happens now because I've said yes to myself. I'm moving up, getting yourself to believe that it's a muscle, I imagine, just to get being at that level. But then maybe even me saying, oh, at that level is me doing like,
that's it. I do $5 million deals and up now. And even though I will do less, of course, that's the mindset. That's the boundary.
Yeah. I love that. I'm going to start playing around with that with like just even my, my offerings. Be like, I do pay in fulls. I do pay in full. But anyways, this is such a powerful conversation. And I love that it went here. So thanks for allowing it to just kind of open up, because I think another thing I love is like powerful women talking about money so openly. And by the way, when I say powerful women, I mean every woman. Every woman is powerful. She just has to tap into it. So this space, this conversation is so open for everybody to have. I used to be somebody who was so afraid of money. I didn't even want to talk about the word money. And now I've shifted because I see it in a new light. I've changed my relationship with it. And now I'm really excited to start having conversations with people like yourself that are hitting big numbers. You're doing big things, and just seeing kind of your mindset around it. I think that is something that more women need to see, and not, let other people, kind of going back to the first part of the conversation, but not seeing that as, oh, That's something that, the guys worry about. My husband's better with money. Oh, I don't know how to manage money. I'm not good with numbers, saying that stupid stuff, just start having conversations even. So I love that it went here.
I do too. It was super real. I love it.
Yeah. So my last couple questions for you are just around, what would you give, what would be maybe advice you'd give somebody that's looking at this, like, man, I just want to be able to do that, what would you tell them? Like wanting to feel more confident or go for a goal, like diving into the real estate space or just any confidence, like,
Well, confidence grows with education and validation and who you talk with. So to get into any space, if you want to buy real estate, you don't know how, first of all, get educated, get in my course, talk to women who have bought real estate or are on the same page, like the community that I have. And yeah, just like find women that are in the money space, in the real estate space, because the more you learn, you'll just do it. But also waiting for the quote unquote perfect time is never going to be the perfect time. Sometimes after all the education and you have the great realtor and you have all the mentors, you just have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. You just, at some point you have to trust yourself. You have to know you've gathered all the information you can at this point, and you just got to try it, because information and words only go so far, right? Yeah. It's the implementation that's going to actually allow it to stick. So I love that. Yeah. So okay, my last question before I dive into my last ones is just, what is like, I guess you've kind of already talked about this, but like words that you live by right now, anything that you just say on repeat in your mind?
I want it. Like, I want things, and so I go get them. So that's what I do in my mind. Like, I'm planning a big 34 birthday party at my house. And my mom's like, it's not even 35. It's not even a big one. And my husband's like, wow, you want to do this and go to Vegas? I'm like, yes, I want it. And so I'm going to get it.
Yes. I love that, because it's why does that have to be your 35th before you celebrate big? Every single day, if you think about it, is a gift. It's the fact that we get to wake up today is an absolute blessing. And so just every year is an honor, to get to grow another year. So I love that. I love that. Happy early birthday. I don't know when your birthday is, but
it's May 17th.
Okay, maybe we have talked about this. Mine's May 22nd.
Oh my gosh.
We're almost birthday twins.
We are. And manifesting generators. We're like the same.
Oh my gosh. See, I knew we were going to click. I knew we were vibing. Well, wonderful. So where can the women find you, connect with you to learn more? And also I'll be including all your information in the show notes. So you can check them out there. But if there's anywhere else or anywhere you want to touch on right now, that's the best place to connect with you, let us know.
Instagram is a really good place. Instagram, just DM me. I have a website too. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're on top of it. Like you get back to people so fast. So I just love connecting with you in Instagram. So, okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Marina, anything else you want to share? Any last words of wisdom or anything that we didn't?
Words of wisdom. Oh my gosh. I think we all have words of wisdom, but I think we said everything we want to say. Just don't be afraid. Fear is what drives a lot of us. Fear of the unknown, fear of looking dumb, fear of other people thinking we're dumb. Yeah. Just don't be afraid of the unknown. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, asking questions, connecting with people, because as soon as you ask the questions, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's great. I feel more confident. I know what's the next step.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What if the unknown could be something you were excited about? What if you switched it? Because fear and excitement sit on the same scale, the same spectrum, just on different ends. So what if you told yourself the unknown's actually exciting? That's my next level, and started living in that space. So thank you for everything. You're just a powerhouse, and I just loved today.
Thank you, Jessie.
Yeah. See you later.